Jaded Brewing is a sponsor of the SJ Pour Challenge.
Clement's Homebrew coming at you, and today we're going to talk about chilling, the importance of chilling, how we want to go about chilling, and why. And then we're going to also talk about the difference between the Scylla. This is made by Jaded Brewing. This one's specifically for all-in-one systems like my Brewmaster, the Grain Folder, others like that. We're going to compare and contrast that to a standard cooler. And then in addition, we're going to actually go through and chill water down from boiling to 70 degrees, let's say, and see how quickly it does it. But we're also going to use proper chilling techniques so you can learn how to more effectively and quickly chill your beer. Wort chillers are an important part of the brewing process for a few reasons. Wort's really susceptible to infection from 140 degrees and until it's sealed. We need to make that process then of getting from 140 down to the temperature we want and sealing it very quickly or risk infection. Another is DMS, dimethyl sulfate. It's a volatile compound that's produced during the brewing process. Now DMS is generally driven off during the boiling, but will form and remain in the wort until the time the boil heat is turned off and until it's chilled. In small quantities, DMS will have no effect on the finished taste or aroma of the beer. But if the wort's not chilled in a timely manner, DMS will form in large quantities, causing the beer to taste and smell like canned corn. A third reason is aroma hops contain volatile oils that burn off quickly at high temperatures once released from the leaves or pellets. To maintain as much of the critical hop oils, particularly with late additions and whirlpooling, you need to cool the wort below 140 degrees as fast as possible. This will help preserve the intended aroma of your recipe. Now you can already see this pattern. We need to get it down below 140 in order to preserve our oils, and then we've got to get it down from the 140 to the temp we want sealed in order to avoid infection. So cooling throughout the process is critical. A lot of people are able to cool down from the high heat and then have a slow process in the middle, risking greater infection. And another area where rapid wort chilling is critical is in the area of chill haze, floaties, and cold break. When boiling wort is rapidly cooled, the trub forms large particles and drops to the bottom of the pot. This is called the cold break and drops off a lot of proteins and tannins to the bottom of the pot. Unfortunately, this effect is lost if the wort is cooled slowly. Many homebrewers let the boiling wort cool overnight in a sealed, sanitized container, then pitch yeast the next day. When this is done, the beer will always have a haze chill because the haze-forming compounds will have remained in the solution. Now let's take a little look at chillers. Here's your standard chiller. And you can see, I think this was about a 25 foot of coil right here. And you can see the diameter here. Here's the Scylla. The diameter of the lower tubing is approximately the same. When we're cooling wort, there are a few critical things. One is water flow. Water flow is really important. We do not want to have slow water flow. I realized in my earlier days, I was lowering the flow rate in order to conserve water. And it does conserve some water. However, what effectively happens is the water comes in here, starts circling and going down towards the bottom of the pot. As you have a slow flow rate, this water is already cooled off before it even reaches the halfway mark. Often, by a third of the way down, the cool water is already warmed and is no longer chilling your beer. You need a faster flow rate to effectively keep pushing through and cooling things down. The problem is with older chillers like this, you're attaching these hoses in this manner, you're trying to crank it on. I remember originally trying to go at a high speed or higher flow rate, and it was seeping through here because the pressure was so high trying to get through this. I ended up with water leaking into my beer, diluting it, etc. So I had to find a medium flow rate optimized so that I wouldn't have that issue, but could also maximize cooling my beer down as quickly as possible. Now let's take a look at the Scylla. Unlike my standard chiller, my hose is connected directly to the copper. Means I don't have any loss of cold temperature on the way to the unit. It goes down through this large pipe, and then down below you can see it splits off into 3 pipes with about the same dimensions of my other one. If you follow this through, you'll see that there's an upper inner area that water flows through for a short distance. There's an outer upper area that it flows through. And because we're going into an all-in-one system that has heating coils, then there's also a lower area. Because of this, we have an effective flow rate where we can flow the water very quickly. Because of these solid connections on the large pipe up here, we're not going to have water leakage because we're also going to have a gasket that's sealing it well. And in addition to that, we're breaking this down into 3 different areas. This makes a really effective chilling process and gives us the ability to cool the beer quickly. I used to believe, as some people had told me, that just having more copper was the solution. Adding more copper is not a solution. It just means that we have warm water running through the rest of the pipe. Over here, the Scylla solves that issue with these 3 different areas. Each of these areas is 25 feet of 3/8 inch copper. Each of them have an effective rate then with a high maximum flow. So they're all cooling separately. It's like throwing 3 of these in the pot and effectively putting it in different areas. So design alone, we already know that the Scylla has it all over the other products, and this is much the same case with other products put out by Jaded. Next, we're going to come back with the Scylla. We're going to review effective ways to do cooling, so we do it properly and effectively, and just see how quickly it works. Now we're going to talk about how to optimize the effectiveness of an immersion wort chiller. There are several factors: the source water flow rate, source water temperature, wort movement, and hose length. We have approximately 6 gallons of water. That's 22.7 liters of water in here. And we also have the groundwater is at 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 15.5 degrees Celsius. So let's go first to the source water flow rate. You want to maximize your flow rate of the water. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is you might not be chilling the wort throughout the coil. We want to avoid slow cooling for all the reasons that we stated earlier. Source water temperature. Cooler water obviously will chill the wort down much faster. For some, that may mean using like an ice chest filled with ice and water and coiling a hose through it before it comes in to your chiller. That might help reduce the wort chilling time. Wort movement. The wort closest to the coils can reach your water source temperature very quickly, resulting in very little chilling taking place, especially during the last parts of the chilling process. To keep this from happening, you simply need to move the chiller around the brew kettle or stir the wort thoroughly during the chilling process. This reduces the time needed to chill the wort from boiling to yeast pitching temperature by more than 50%. Tests have shown that using a pump for wort movement is less effective than manual agitation. So today we're going to be stirring it with a large spoon. And finally, the hose length. For any chiller, it's important to limit the length of the feed hoses, both coming in and going out. This allows for increased source water and discharge water pressure, resulting in greater flow rate. I actually have a fairly long hose here. I do plan to reduce it. It's about 20 feet. I would be better served with a 10-foot hose. So we are actually currently at 100.1 degrees Celsius. And since I work alone normally, that's how we're going to effectively do this. I'm going to turn off the heat, run over, maximize the hose, and we're going to see how quickly we chill this as I stir it. And to make this kind of fun for me, I've got a stopwatch ready to go. And go. All right, now I'm stirring it. I've still got my stopwatch going. Been going for about 2 minutes now. We're already down at 53 degrees Celsius. 21 Celsius is 70 degrees. And I even had to step away from this to go over to the camera for a moment. So even with a few mishaps along the way, we're at 35 Celsius and it's been 3.5 minutes. All right, we've hit it. And I had to walk away for a little bit because my camera turned off. I wasn't stirring the entire time. A few little mishaps. And yet, I hit my 70 degrees in basically 5.5 minutes. If Christian had been here and we'd been doing this together, we would have done it faster. This is actually the first time that I've tested the Scylla. I wanted to do that live with you all just for fun. And I have to say, I'm extremely impressed. I think that if you follow these tips and tricks that were put forth by Jaded Brewing actually, I think the fastest I've ever chilled down was maybe 15 minutes with much colder water. So, so the proof is right here. This is one effective chiller. I would say that you could use any of these techs with the existing chillers that you have and work well, but with the design chillers that they have here, that's fantastic. And I do want you to know, go to the website at Jaded Brewing, that's G-A-D-E-D brewing.com. Check out their other products. There are some that work more effective for you and your application. They even have a stainless steel chiller coming out very soon. This is Kevin Clemens Homebrew saying, wow, chill that beer fast, folks. We'll catch you later. Cheers.